For many backyard growers, peppers are the summer favorite. At least around here they are. And while it may not look like summer, right now is actually the time we need to be starting our pepper seeds. Growers that live in temperate parts of the world, like I do, sprout their pepper seeds early indoors to get a jump on the coming summer season. In part 1 of this 3-part pepper growing series, I'll show you the best strategies step by step for planting and sprouting your pepper seeds early indoors to ensure that you're harvesting more peppers than you can possibly dream of this summer. And it starts right now. Whenever I show people how I start my warm weather crops early indoors, particularly peppers, I invariably get the same question every time. Why not just plant the seeds directly in the ground in the spring? Well, the answer to that is twofold. Peppers, like many warm weather crops, require a certain number of warm days to flower, fruit, and produce. In temperate regions like mine, there simply isn't enough time for these pepper plants to produce a viable crop if I were to direct seed them into the garden 2 to 3 months from now. The second reason is quality. By sprouting my peppers indoors right now, I can incrementally move the peppers onto larger pots, weeding out the subpar specimens. Seeds are cheap. Space, time, and soil are not. Cherry picking the best plants as I go along ensures that I'm going to be growing the best pepper crop possible. So now that we know what we're doing and why we're doing it, let's head on inside and I'll show you how I start my pepper seeds early. Around the world right now, gardeners everywhere are starting their favorite pepper seeds, anxiously awaiting the summer like it was Christmas. There's no right or wrong way to start your pepper seeds. However, all pepper varieties have some similar basic environmental needs. In part 1 of this pepper growing series, our focus is to plant our seeds with the highest germination rates possible and to set up those young seedlings for maximum early sustained growth. This is key because accomplishing those 2 things early on ensures that we're on the right trajectory for a healthy summer bounty. Remember, bigger healthy plants early on equals bigger healthier plants later. Like all indoor Head Start veggie crops, the basics are divided into 3 components: your seeding soil, your containers, and finally, the way that you plant and care for that young crop. These fundamentals are in order, so let's start with the soil. Peppers are not delicate, fragile plants. They sprout easily, and you'll often find them sprouting wild in your garden rather hilariously. However, like all pre-started plants, it's highly suggested to use a proper seeding mixture. Store-bought seeding soils are readily available, especially this time of year. Conversely, making your own is quite easy. You just need to follow some basic principles. Seeding mixes need to be light and airy to allow brand new root radicles and eventually the fine roots of the peppers to get established. Without that, your pepper plants are needlessly stressed. Also, the seeding mixture should be quite low in nutrients, as the seeds themselves contain all the plant needs to grow for the first week or so. The base component of any seeding mix that you're going to make yourself should be a neutral organic substrate. The 2 materials most commonly used in the industry are coconut fiber and peat moss. Once you've picked out your favorite base component, you want to mix it at a ratio of 60 to 70% of it to around 30 to 40% organic compost. Sift out the larger debris and you're on your way at a fraction of the cost of store-bought mixes. You can add in about 10% perlite for even more aeration, and soil lightness, but for peppers, it's not a requirement. A couple of weeks ago, I did an entire video just on making your own seeding soil mixes. Check it out if you're going to go that route. With our soil all figured out, let's talk containers. Peppers can grow in just about anything. Deli cups, small nursery pots, paper cups, these little 6-cell nursery inserts. Heck, they can even grow in paper towel rolls. Get creative, but just remember, the container must drain water. Because pepper seedlings, like most veggie seedlings, can't stand in water. It's a death sentence. But don't overspend. Don't go crazy with your containers. You know, even in these little cells, these peppers can last 1 month plus. So if you're cramped for space because of the millions of other seeds that you're starting right now, don't stress out about it too much. For the first 4 to 6 weeks of a pepper's life, it's pretty undemanding. I myself use these 10-20 nursery tray plug inserts. You can get nearly 100 seedlings into each tray, and these little cells are big enough to get those plants up to a pretty formidable size. They're really easy to work with, and being a standard size, they fit all the other components that go along with growing plants. Things like heat mats, the spread of your LED lights, and even simple things that you don't think about, like holding trays. If you're starting to get serious about gardening, really think about investing in some of these plug trays. They can make all the difference in the world. Really though, as long as the container holds soil and drains water, you're good to go. Don't let the lack of access to dedicated or professional containment systems deter you. The peppers just don't care where they grow. All they're concerned with is the soil below and the light above. Now that we're up to our eyeballs in knowledge about soil and containers that we can't unlearn, let's get to planting our pepper seeds. The actual planting of your pepper seeds is quite easy, and you'll be successful as long as you observe 3 main requirements. Plant your pepper seeds a 1/2 inch deep in that seeding mix that we mentioned before. Keep those seeds and soil at a constant temperature between 80 to 90 degrees Fahrenheit. And for you temperate growers like me, start your pepper seeds at least 8 to 10 weeks before your last spring frost date. This is going to give you the best head start. Do these 3 things correctly, and all varieties of peppers are pretty easy to sprout. Most of them within 1 to 2 weeks. Let's go through planting a couple of trays so that you can see it in practice. Fill up your containers or pots, or in this case, cells, right up to the top with that seeding soil mix. Compress the soil down roughly 25% and then top it off. Now, this next part is key. Instead of planting right away, water that tray from below with about 2 liters of warm water. Let that soil soak it in. It usually takes about 2 hours. This is going to provide the ideal planting environment for your pepper seeds. Once that seeding mix is nice and moist, make a depression about 1/2 inch deep and place a single seed inside. Or place the seed right on top of the soil and then push it down 1/2 inch. Either way, same result. Seeding your pots, containers, or cells this way is known as the single seeding method. It's how this tray was seeded. It's great, and if you're doing less than a dozen plants, it's perfectly fine. However, to save even more space, time, and soil, peppers are one of the few veggie plants that can be multi-seeded. It's not really all that different, other than we place multiple seeds per cell instead of one. Again, the same 1/2 inch deep, using the same seeding soil with the same moisture levels. The theory here is that peppers, like most nightshades, are excellent transplants. And the best seedlings that come up can be divided and replanted singly after a few weeks. With the multi-seeding method, you can literally plant hundreds of pepper seeds in the same amount of space as you would a few. This is handy if you need an army of pepper plants, either for sale or you're just pepper crazy. Whichever method you choose, after planting, you're going to want to place that tray on a standard low watt heat mat. Or if you don't have one, under some warm grow lights. Like we said, peppers germinate best at 80 to 90 degrees Fahrenheit. Lower temperatures can be fine. It just takes longer to sprout them, often with less success. In about 7 to 10 days, you should see your pepper seeds starting to sprout. Like most of our flowering crops, peppers emerge with 2 large seed leaves, known as cotyledons. These guys pop out first, and they're somewhat impressive, but they're not true leaves. After a couple of more days, with the right conditions, the true leaves are going to start to appear. Keep the plants really warm and moist, but once the second set of true leaves starts to appear, remove any covers that you may have over your seedlings. In the coming days, maybe up to about a week or so, more true leaves begin to appear. They come quite quick, in fact, and they grow even faster. To prevent your young pepper plants from becoming too large and lush and leggy, you're going to want to drop that heat. Drop it down to about 60 to 70 degrees Fahrenheit. Being tropical, sun-loving plants, peppers will take as much light as you can give them. Right now, all the way until when they get planted into the garden, a light schedule of 16 hours on, 8 hours off is ideal. Obviously, real sunshine is the best, but full spectrum lighting can work as well. Just don't use too weak of bulbs or have those pepper plants too far away from them. At this point, as far as basic needs go, light is right up there with soil and water. After around a month to 6 weeks, the peppers will have outgrown their cells and are going to need to be moved on. This is where video number 2 is going to kick in. That's when we'll replant our peppers into even larger pots, preparing them for the big growth spurt and eventual transition into our spring gardens. Hopefully, as your seedlings sprout in the next few weeks and continue to grow, you'll start to see the timeline more clearly and why we start our pepper seeds early indoors to maximize the crop. So, if you're 8 to 10 weeks away from your last spring frost date, you officially have the green light to plant your pepper seeds. Check back in a couple of weeks for video number 2, where we accelerate the growth of those young seedlings and prepare them for the journey outdoors. And hey, if you have any other pepper seeding tips that you'd like to share with our awesome community, make sure to leave it in the comments down below. Also, if any of you are on Facebook, head on over and join our gardening group called Growing Better. The group has grown phenomenally fast, yet it will never lose its sense of community or its welcoming feel. If you're passionate about growing epic organic fruits, herbs, and veggies for you and your family, the Growing Better group is a great place to hang out, share, learn, and grow. Hey, thanks for watching, guys. If you're getting value in this and the other series that I'm doing on YouTube, hit those like, share, and subscribe buttons if you'd be so kind, and I'll see you in the next video.